What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night again, and we are live here at Squadron, or rather at my house in my arcade room again. My name is Brandon Lowe, and I am very happy to have you with me tonight. I hope everybody is doing really good. I've had a great day, and me and my youngest son, or my youngest son and I, we're just playing some arcade games a few minutes ago, having a good time. He beat me at skee ball. But I guess my kids get a lot more time to practice these games than I do. So whenever they say, "Hey, Daddy, let's play this," I should know that I'm in for getting my butt kicked. But that just happens, right? But we had a good time. Hope you all are having a good day. Let's see who's here in the chat with us tonight. Danny's here. Hey, how are you, buddy? And it looks like you just ordered the new Tacom guns. Those are going to be good. Yeah, the 350 scale gearing. I'm sure everybody saw my big oops on the price on that, but it's been fixed, and I hope that you have seen the new, much lower price, or I should say, the correct price, because what happened was I was pricing the Scharnhorst, the battleships, and somehow or another I looked at the wrong line and I put the same price for the battleships as the destroyers, and that's just obviously not correct. So it's all fixed now, so go buy some destroyers. The gearing, which other one is back? The Buchanan is back, and the Laffey are all back, or they're coming back. They're on their way to us. We'll have them soon. So pre-orders are open for those. And David is here. Good to see that you got your Stuart. And yes, it is going to be an awesome build. So glad you got that. Jason's here tonight. How are you, buddy? The Lawn Care Novice is here. Good to see you. And yes, the all the non-military stuff, the Cessnas and everything else, we get them when they're available. There's not as many of those as you can imagine as the military planes, but we do have them from time to time. I don't know right now off the top of my head what we have in stock, but we do get them when they are available to us. So good to see y'all tonight. Let's see. When we get moved, how far will we be from the North Carolina line? Well, probably further than we are now. We're only about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes from North Carolina, I guess. Maybe a little bit further than that. When we were in Blue Ridge, we were 10 minutes from North Carolina, and now we're 10 minutes further south. But when we move, we will literally be like 5, I think, or 6 miles south of downtown Chattanooga, directly south, right on I-75. So, however long it takes you to get to I-75 in Tennessee, that's about how long it's going to take you to get to us. And looks like Jason had already answered that for me. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll as soon as I don't have my actual address memorized yet over there, as soon as I get that figured out, I can give it to you and you can look it up. And as far as what Slick GLN is asking about an open house, yes, and I knew what you meant there. Open, duh. I knew what you meant, and we're planning on doing something. I just don't know what yet. And greetings to you too, Randy. Good to see you tonight. And Wayne is here, and Ed is with us again. Hey, Ed. Good to see you. And Ed, check your email. I just my last email I sent before the show started was to you, actually, and which is I think what happened last week. Oh man, yeah, Jason, Knoxville's not very far at all. My wife used to live up there, so she knows the area well, and not too terribly far from where we are going to be. And anybody that's joining us tonight that did not join us last week or haven't seen the news, we are moving to Chattanooga, or just south of Chattanooga. So that's what all these guys are talking about. And greetings to you too, Nick. Good to see you, and thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Tom's with us again from the villages of the White Sands. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, Rex. And TD is here. Carlos is with us. And Wes. And, yeah, Wes, I hope there's going to be ice machines in the warehouse. And unfortunately, there's not going to be when we first get there. We'll have to figure something out. It's going to be hot. But that's all right. We will make do with it. And Tom wants to know, about my 35th scale railgun. Let's see. Fella Scratch built his with PVC tubing. Yeah, that would be a very impressive Scratch build, for sure. I would love to see that. Mine is, unfortunately, I was working on it. I was making really good progress, and I had to pack it all up so we can move. So as soon as I get my new model room we've got us a house, or we're going to have us a house. We've picked one out. We hope to close on that soon, and uh, as soon as I can get moved over there, get my new model room set up, the door is coming out of the box, and we'll once again have some good progress made on it, I hope. Howdy to you too, Mark. Good to see you tonight. And Michael, good to see you. And I'm glad to know that you got your Akagi upgrades. That's great. I know that you were looking forward to finding those. Sorry I couldn't help you with that, but glad that you found them. And hello to you too, Miami Dolphins, even though you're in Atlanta. A lot closer to me than if you were in Miami. And Michael from Ohio, good to see you tonight. And Greg, good to see you. And Jim, Jeremiah was a bullfrog is with us again. Hello to you, buddy. And Miami says, oh, okay. Yeah, last week we were talking about that. What does ICM stand for? And looks like you have figured it out. It stands for nothing. It just sounds good, I guess. So that's good. That's good that we now know that, right? And Glenn wants to know if tourists to Nevada think that he and the other residents live in casinos. Well, Greg, I thought that you did live in casinos. Everybody that visits Ellijay thinks that all of us in business sell fudge and antiques. So, good to see you tonight, Greg. And Charles is here. Good to see you. Let's see. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. There will be lots of places like that I will be able to get to a lot easier than I can now. So that'd be cool. Love to meet you sometime. Let's see. Best in show. Yeah, if you scratch build a 35th scale Dora and you do a decent job on it, you have to win. It's like it should be a given, right? Charles, good evening to you. And Tom wants to know how many of us in here used to go to Eagle Quest, Squadron's Eagle Quest, back when they used to host that show out in Texas. And unfortunately, I never made it out there. I would love to have been able to see that show and go be a part of it, but the only Eagle Quest I'll ever get to go to is if we get that going again, which if we do, it won't be in Texas, but that's something we get asked quite often. But if you ever went to the Texas Eagle Quest, let us know in the comments. Tom is curious to know how many of us went to that. And Vincent from Quebec City, good to see you, buddy. Todd from South Bend. Yep, I was there a couple weeks ago. That was a long way from here. We had a good time though. Last week I talked about the show, and I mentioned the cool little lapel pins they gave out, and I had left mine at the show or at the shop. I brought it with me, so they're really neat. I love getting these little pins at the shows, so that was cool. Let's see, Frank Fanning, good to see you tonight. So you just found our new website. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you found us and glad to have you back as a Squadron guy. I really appreciate that. If you ever need anything, let me know. I'll be happy to help you. And talking about getting back into the hobby slowly, welcome to a humongous selection of model kits that are available these days compared to many years ago. So many good products coming out these days for sure. MP, Model Plastic from Portugal. Good to see you, buddy. Buck and Deb in Jacksonville. Good to see you tonight. Now, I'm glad we got those armor kits to you. Good luck building them. Send me pictures when you get done. I'd love to see them. Robert says, "Wow, Portugal. Yeah, we're worldwide, guys." At least I like to think I am. I guess I am a little bit in Portugal anyway. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Yeah, Danny, the destroyers from Dragon. I know a lot of us have them. I've got. I don't think I have all of them, uh, but there's a lot of people that missed out on those. So I'm happy that they are back for sure. John's checking in from King, North Carolina. Good to see you tonight. Robert, got your Squadron catalog. That's good. Uh, we are not going to have another one that is a full length for this year. You know, they say hindsight's 2020. I should have put on there 23, 24 catalog because that was the intention was that it lasts an entire year or a little bit more. And since we issued that at the IPMS Nationals last year in Texas, the thought was it would be good through Nationals this year. So it's just one of those things. It should say 23 and 24. Now we are working on a what I'm referring to as an update or maybe an expansion. Nowhere near 500 pages. Maybe I don't know. Maybe 50 pages or 48 pages or somewhere in that ballpark. And we're trying to get that finished up, which is basically just a bunch of stuff that's come out since the catalog was printed last year. But what we do plan to do is after that runs out and after more of the things that are printed in the big catalog right now are discontinued um, and not available, we want to reissue another full-length catalog, but that's going to be at least 25, maybe not 26, but somewhere in there. So the idea is the big catalog should last for at least a year or two. So we're kind of making it up as we go, but we don't have plans to do another 500 pager this year. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes. We kind of have our plate full right now with this move. So, oh man, John, the Akagi with the zero, I don't know for sure. It's not going to be before Nationals, I don't think. Um, I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. I think that's on the next round of releases. The next shipment that we're supposed to get is going to have like the 35th scale Spitfire on it and maybe a couple other things, but I don't think the zero is quite ready yet. Brian was at the Eagle Quest. Awesome. Oh, Eagle Quest in St. Louis. I don't think I knew anything about that. I learn something new every day. Oh, man. Of course, Ed was there. Yeah, Ed, I know that's right in your backyard, so let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to do like 10 things at once. Yeah, going back to that border question, the Spitfire and their 250/1 half track. No, that's Tacom. Borders, so many half tracks coming out. Borders is a 251 half track. It's that and the Spitfire coming next. And then the 250 half track is Tacom, and that's going to be coming soon too. Too many new things coming out. And speaking of that, let me answer the last few of these chats real quick. Then I'll jump over. I got to show you a bunch of new stuff. That's been announced this week, or that we announced this week. And then we'll jump over into what I'm sure you are all curious to see, which is a little tour of our warehouse, which obviously you see that I'm not at the warehouse. I pre-recorded it this afternoon, and it has no audio, so I will show it to you and talk to you live about me walking around the warehouse. So, let's see. Yeah, Frank, the hobby, there's so many things coming out in the selection of paints. It is quite crazy how many paint companies there are. But it's not just paints, it's the kits. It's like every day a new plastic kit company or resin accessories or 3D this or photo etch that or decal or whatever. So many cool options. So, and Jim, you are regretting not going to the AMP show. Well, it was a fun time, but the good thing is you can go next year. It'll be fun there, I'm sure, and look forward to seeing you there. We are planning on attending again. In Miami, I agree. Golden age of modeling for sure. And Jose is here tonight. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. And yes, we will be right up the road from you for sure. So looking forward to being up there and looking forward to coming and hanging out with you guys at the Chattanooga Model Club meetings and whatnot. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Let's see. Danny, yep, just it's nuts. Lots of stuff coming out for sure. Uh, Tom, you are referring to Skyline. Skyline chili and Gold Star chili are the two places that are virtually the same, at least for me, considering I get them once a year. I don't eat them often enough to know the subtle differences, but yeah, Skyline chili and Gold Star chili, I love them, and we don't have them down here in the South. So, and John, is Border coming out with a 35th scale B-17? Supposedly, they have announced it, and they're doing it along with, I forget, let me pull it up real quick. Where's it at? Oh, future pre-orders, not regular pre-orders. What is this company? Aska. Yeah, whoever Aska is, Aska Studio, that is who they are making that with. So no information on it at all yet. I know nothing other than they have announced it, that it is coming, and they're doing it in cooperation with Aska Studios. Oh, okay, Tom. Yes, I do know what you're talking about then. So you're referring to MasterCon. However, I still learned something new because I didn't realize that was in St. Louis. So, Dave, you can't imagine what's going to be involved with our move north. I will tell you. A lot of burning the midnight oil kind of days. Lots of packing up. We've already started packing, as you'll see in a few minutes when we look at this warehouse video. We've started getting things ready. We've got pallets of overstock wrapped up to go. We are actually, I don't know, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Jose, got a few copies of the Large Eagle. Yeah, I want one. Call me sometime or email me. Tell me how to get in touch with her. That would be cool. That'd be the perfect thing to stick in the Squadron Museum. Yeah, in Miami, the Varsity, that was a good place. That was a good place for sure. All right, well, let's jump into the warehouse tour. Now, before I get started with showing our current warehouse, we've got to take just a few minutes and go back in time so you can understand where we came from. I've been a little bit hesitant up to now on showing too much of our warehouse. Obviously, any of you that have come by our store and come shopping in person, you know what it looks like. But a lot of people, heck, myself included, we all have this idea of what Squadron should be or what it could be, and all this is based on what it used to be. And what it used to be is not what it is now, for better or for worse. In my opinion, there's a lot of things that are quite a bit better now. But the simple truth of the matter is, old Squadron, any of you that went to Eagle Quest that did get to go see that warehouse, that place was ginormous, 50,000 square feet. Now, if you went there in the last decade, you would probably realize that they did not need 50,000 square feet. You look at some of the, I kept everything from the old Squadron YouTube videos on this channel, so you can scroll back through our channel and see some of the warehouse tours that Jeff V did. And that's very cool. They were showing off what they had, but there's no denying that shelves were kind of empty towards the end. But when you have 50,000 square feet, you can spread out and take all the space you need. Heck, I wish we had extra space. I would love to expand this way instead of this way. But, you know, you hear these numbers, you have these ideas about what it could be, what it should be, what it's not. And, if you come see us, yeah, we kind of look like a small operation. But if you know me and you've spent any time talking with me or seeing me at shows or coming to our shop, you know that we know how to get a lot done in a little bit of space and a little bit of time. So we do our best. But let me show you real quick just a little trip down memory lane, if you will. Let's see. So this is where we started back in 2006. And when I say we, I don't mean me at Squadron. I mean we at Free Time Hobbies. This is how I got started in the model business. This little bitty room, and here it is. Here's the inside. That door, that's the door. You walk right in, and boom, there's my desk. There's Russ's desk, my dad. And this place was small. And but this is how we got started. We came up with Free Time Hobbies. Shortly after this is when we bought Trident Hobbies, the ship model company, and this was us. So we made it work. We had a little hallway. There's me, 20 years old or 21 years old, however old I was. Yeah, 21. And we sold model kits, and after we bought Trident Hobbies, we sold a lot of ship model kits, and we sold little board games, and it was a lot of fun. This was our little hallway. It was I don't know what you would call it. It was a very old building, and you walk from the outside, you could come straight in, but also on the front side, you could walk down this hallway, and it was kind of like I don't know, almost like a little mall. So you got this big hallway, and you got all these little shops everywhere. So we did that for a year. Then we moved right down the street on the same block to this place. And this, by the way, was in Americus, Georgia, is where we started out. So we were here. Here's another shot of that building. Russ ended up designing how to do this, getting it painted that color and all this. And the whole downtown district loved it so much that they had him design the color scheme for the rest of downtown. And so that was cool. They painted the whole downtown to match us, and it was kind of neat. And let's see, here's the inside of that store. So we were there for, I don't know, at least a year. I guess we were only there for a year. Yeah, we were the small place for maybe half a year. We were here for a year and a half. And then we decided to move up to Blue Ridge. And this whole time we're going, we're growing the whole time, right? Then we get to Blue Ridge, and I don't have a picture of the outside of this store. But if any of you came to see us in Blue Ridge when we first got there, this is the store that you may remember. It was in a shopping center next to Pizza Hut and next to a grocery store. And this is where we were for a long time. We were probably here longer than any of our other 50 million places we've moved to. But we were here from about 2008 until 2015. And if you were one of the guys that came there to shop our secret warehouse in the back, we didn't have that to begin with, but a couple of years, I forget however many years it was, a couple of years into being here, we continued to grow, continued to expand, and needed more space. So there was extra warehouse space on the back side of this shopping center, and this is the only picture that I've got of that at the moment. But this room was completely filled with shelves at one point, all the way to the ceiling, big wood shelves. And then there was another room this size right next to it. We ended up getting that a couple years later. So we continue to grow, and then and I think Ed asked me a couple weeks ago what happened to that NASCAR we had. Here it is. That's what he was talking about. But then in 2015, we built what to that point we were most proud of, and in some respects still most proud of. It was our store. We referred to it as our store because it was so cool, and this was it. This was our Free Time Hobbies store in Blue Ridge. And this is the store that has the big muffler man that you've probably heard me refer to in past weeks. And that was Mr. Hobby. He stood right outside the store, and he held a P-51. And you could see him from the highway plain as day, 20-something feet tall. And this was very, very cool. We had a lot of fun here. This was the inside. And, I told you last week we're moving to Chattanooga and we are moving to 20,000 square feet. Just to put that in perspective on how we tend to be able to utilize space, this was 5,000 square feet, this store, and we set this up in such a way that it was a storefront, but it doubled as our warehouse. So this was a live working warehouse that we pulled orders from. We operated our e-commerce from it, and but we wanted it to be nice for people to come see us and come shopping, and we did that. So, but we had a lot of stuff in there, and honestly, we could have had a lot more stuff in there. But at the time, that's all the space we needed. And but we had a lot of fun there. It was really cool. We ended up doing, we made our own IPMS chapter there for a while, hosted our own IPMS contest there. It was very small, but it was a lot of fun. And a lot of guys really, really enjoyed that. We did that, I think, 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years. We did our own show. We called it the Fall Festival. So we did that and just did a lot of stuff like that. Then we ended up moving to Ellijay. And let's see, let me get back to those pictures. I don't have very many pictures of that. We moved to Ellijay. Where are we at? There we are. Moved to Ellijay. This is where we were for a little while. Not much to say there. It was shortly after that, as if you know the story, we sold Free Time Hobbies. I got into doing motocross graphics. Everything was gone. Then, and the whole story is for a different day, but we ended up moving across the street. I was running graphics. Russ, my dad, bought MMD, and once we did that, he started getting more and more stuff, and this was our well, at the time it was his collection of things for MMD. And then as he started getting more and more business back with the hobby stores, that's when I got interested in getting back in. And I said, hey, if I buy Squadron from Chris, can I buy stuff from you? And he's like, well, yeah. So this was shortly after I bought Squadron, and my print shop started becoming a hobby shop again, or a warehouse, an e-commerce fulfillment center, I guess we'll say. But we had less than 2,000 square feet there. I forget exactly how many feet that was, but it was very small. Let me see. Let me show you. Let's see. Let me switch this over real quick. Wrong button. Man, I can't click anything right tonight. Shares. Oh, that's why. All right, so here was the outside of that building. So this is how new Squadron, my version of Squadron 3.0, 2.0, whatever .0 it is, this is where Squadron started. And this is right across the street from where we are now. And it doesn't look like much because it is not much. But everybody's got to start somewhere, right? And this is where we started. And it was literally just me. And on the MMD side, it was just Russ. And because with the graphic shop, I didn't have any help. It was just me. All of my designers were outsourced, and that kind of thing. But it was just me for a while, and then I realized, hey, this is probably going to turn into something, and we had to move across the street, which is where we are now. So I'll show you where we are now. So this is the shopping center where we are, and you probably notice, and if you've ever been here, you definitely know this, I never even put a sign up. And this warehouse, we share it. It's the MMD warehouse and it's the Squadron warehouse, and we've got really fancy inventory systems, and I'll just leave it at that. But we never put a sign up. We talked about putting a sign up, because if you see over on the side, we actually have 3 of these spaces. And I was like, well, I can put a Squadron sign there, you can put an MMD sign there, but we just never did it because we had this feeling that this was not going to be a large enough place for us. And if you see in the corner back there, it says, "Your business here. Our landlord knows we're leaving, and he is already trying to rent the space out from under us." Which I don't blame him. He should. He should. But that's one of the office areas. But this door goes directly into the warehouse, and you are immediately greeted with some IBG kits when you first walk in. And usually, if you've come to visit us, this is not the door you would come in. Usually, guys walk in directly into my office, and I can say hello and all that kind of stuff. But this is you're looking at Rodin kits on the left and Edward kits on the right, and everything. And there's your Edward photo. Everything we try to do, I try to keep everything on rolling carts because we have to move, we have to shuffle stuff around so often because of not having enough space. So like those racks that you're looking at there, depending on what week it is and what's come in and what's going out, we may have to shift those all the way to one end of the room or the other end just to make room for us to work. You'll see right here, there's two of our shrink wrap machines. One of them stays running all day, every day. The other one is, like I said, depending on how much work we have, we'll slide things out of the way. We can shift stuff around and set up temporary working areas. But like I said, we make it work, and we've always made it work everywhere we are, and that's what we continue to do. So as I walk over here, you'll get a little glimpse. This is going into that other room. I don't know what that is in there, how big it is, but it's big enough. That's our offices. We got 4 or 5 offices in there, a couple of shipping stations or shipping areas or whatever, where we can do some shipping in there. And all this that you see walking back towards the loading area, this is all of our racks that we've been tearing down, packing up. I mean, you see the rack of the stack of shelves there. That's all the stuff we're getting ready to take over to Ringgold. And there's our back area. But yeah, all that stuff is just, we've been tearing. Those are uprights for shelves there, the black things, just trying to get everything packed. So that's why I wanted to do this video now, because I realized, another couple of weeks, this place is going to look empty again. And it's already kind of sort of starting to get there. We've been a little bit selective on what to buy. I've been tearing Russ up, because he's MMD, and he's where I get probably 80 to 85% of my inventory from. And if he's not buying it, I can't get it. So he's trying to cut back so we don't have so much to move, and I'm like, hey, we don't need to cut back. So it's going to be interesting how we get all this stuff moved over there. And I've been asked a lot, is there going to be any disruption in business? And my hopeful plan is no. We're trying to make it to where we can continue filling orders even during the move. And one of the ways that's going to happen is I'm going to be moving to Ringgold first, like in the next couple of weeks. And I will be taking things over there, and I'll be fulfilling my Squadron orders from there. I've got to find some help over there. I've already got some new employees lined up, and then MMD is going to stay in Ellijay until the very end. Russ is going to stay here because I've got some of the Squadron employees specifically are moving with me or with us. Unfortunately, Dad doesn't have any of his MMD guys moving, so he's got to get all new guys over there. So he's going to stay in Ellijay the longest. Squadron's going to go ahead and move as quick as possible, and we'll just figure it out. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. So here we go, walking down. You'll see some AFV Club kits on the left, and all this stuff on the right. This is our Squadron branded tools. If you've ever had any of the Squadron products or Squadron tools, this is what is packed up. We've got a ton of this stuff that is not in packaging yet that we keep in boxes. That's what a lot of that stuff up high is. But it's like sanding sticks. When you order those 100,000 at the time, you pretty much have a few in a box. You don't have all of them sitting on a shelf in packaging ready to go. And that's what all that stuff up on the top is. it's we keep enough down low where we can grab orders on a day-to-day basis. But that's one of those things talking about, yeah, if we had 50,000 feet like old Squadron, we'd put everything on the floor and that'd be great. But unfortunately, when you're working, I think this warehouse space is seven something, 7.5 maybe thousand. We have like 8 or 9 thousand square feet total, but that includes our offices and all that. So I think the actual warehouse space is somewhere around 7,000. And yes, we're moving to 20,000, so it's going to be great. But we have to keep all that excess stock up on the top. So we're climbing all the time. We've got a scissor lift back there that helps to get way up high. There's some of the Flyhawk kits. Looking forward to putting those new Ticonderoga class cruisers on that shelf. Well, actually, they're not going to go on that shelf. They're going straight to Ringgold. So they'll never be on that shelf. There's, what's that? Revell car kits. This is all the ICM stuff on both sides, or well, not all the ICM stuff. It's all of this is ICM, and a lot of the stuff that they get in, and this is when I'm happy that I'm Squadron, not MMD, because when they get the stuff in from wherever Russ is buying it. Not all the companies, but a lot of them, they come in broken down. So they've got to actually take all that stuff out of the boxes. They got to assemble the model kit boxes, put the plastic kits in them, put the instructions in there, run them through the shrink wrap machine. But now, don't get me wrong. I have helped do that before. I know how to do it. But like I said, that's when I'm happy that I'm Squadron, not MMD. But that's what a lot of that stuff up on the top is too. What looks like a case of 12 or 24 kits might be more like 96 kits because they're all crammed in there, broken down. You got to take them out. We call those Trojan horses. When you get a box full of stuff and you didn't expect in there to be as much as was in there. So, but it's a lot of work sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. So here I come around to, what is this? This is trumpeter stuff that we're getting into now. I think 700 scale ships on the right and 35th scale armor on the left. Coming on back to, I guess that's 72 scale on the back wall there. Big old I told you I found a bunch of the original Hanabu civilian version boxes. That's what that was, that big stack. And stuck them up high, get them out of the way. You're looking at Academy now. Let's see, yeah, Academy planes on that side, and looking at all the Academy armor on this side in the green and the white boxes. And now we are coming up on Edward. No, I'm sorry, not Edward. What am I thinking? That's Hobby Boss. Different part of the world. Hobby Boss kits. Yeah. And then here's a fun part. This is the Vallejo paint. And if you've ever bought a whole pack of Vallejo paint, you'll see some of them up on the top. They come in 6-packs. For me, for Squadron pulling retail orders, I open them up like that so I can, because a lot of people will buy 1 or 2 at the time. And I think Russ keeps all his case packs way up high because he's got a way more of them than will fit in my little retail pulling bins. And most of his dealers will buy them 6 at the time because that's how they come. But for me, pulling the retail orders and my guys, I like having these little racks out because it's just easy to go grab 1 can of paint. That was the Tamiya. There's some of the AK Interactive paints. Just easy to pull that way. And then that's all my, what is that, Tamiya paints. The X colors, the XF colors, some of the spray paints down there. The new LP colors are down there. So, yeah, and that was Mission Models paint there behind that rack. We starting to try to push that a little bit more. It's interesting paint. They've got some really, really nice colors. So, and here we go down the Tacom aisle. Lots of goodies with them. There, some of the spots we have to have more space than others, but Tacom, it doesn't ever seem to really grow because their stuff goes discontinued so often. We'll get a ton of them, and by the time the next shipment comes in, half of what we got is gone and is discontinued. And there's a few brands like that, like X Plus does the same thing. Their production runs, they do it one time, and then it's gone. So in some ways, it's kind of no fun because the kits are gone, you can't get them anymore. But on the warehousing side of things, it's kind of nice because you don't have an endlessly growing brand like some of them are. But same thing, here's Ming. Same thing with them. It's not an endlessly growing brand because their stuff comes in, it sells out, and then it's gone. But it's, part of it, I guess. Here's your Black Cat stuff. Tons and tons of little 3D printed ship model stuff. You got Clear Prop and Ace there on the left. This is well, I don't think I'm going back there yet. Never mind. We'll get to that in a minute. Same thing like I was talking about pulling retail orders for my Squadron guys, the tools, all that. I like putting them in these little bins. It just makes it quicker and keep the bulk overstock in boxes up high, and grab the scissor lift when you got to bring more down to the floor. Got a bunch of accessories over there on the left, decals and master models, barrels, and figures, all sorts of goodies. And then we come on into this room. This was our last and final expansion here in this warehouse, and we expanded into this room, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, maybe within the last 6 months anyway. And after we got this, that was all the space the landlord had to give. And so now we got to get on down the road, but that will be okay. We will have much more space when we get there. You're looking at all the CMK and Special Hobby little accessories and all that kind of fun stuff. Some round tube items. This is more of our pallets of overstock that we've got packed up, shrink wrapped, and ready to move. Bunch of stuff back there ready to go. And that's what all this is too. We are referring to this as Area 51. This is all the stuff that's just kind of getting crammed back in the corner, getting ready to go. Tons of cases of Squadron books, but all sorts of things that are going to get loaded on a semi-truck at some point soon. But we try to pile it in every little corner that we can get it. Yeah, and talking about those rolling carts, all these carts, these move all the time. Just depending on if we've got to get a pallet down those racks, down those rows, those have to move. It's we're going to pick up a lot of time when we move by simply not having to reorganizing the warehouse. I wouldn't say it's a daily thing, but it's definitely a 1 or 2 times per week thing. And we always just moving stuff. Every time something comes in, we got to shift things around just to have enough room to work. I'm sitting there trying to make sure all of our Squadron orders are getting fulfilled and shipped out, and all of a sudden Russ will get a container in, and the next thing you know, I'm pushed over into the corner so they can process a container shipment. But it's just part of it. We make do. There's the master box figures there on the left. Cool stuff. And we're coming up to the end. I think I'm walking through and Going to do a quick look, I think is what this is, and then I climb up on the top and give you an overview of the whole place one time. Yeah, and I did this afternoon after everybody left. Uh, and the last thing I told everybody was, hey, make sure we clean up before we go. So, because they knew that I was going to do this. There's all the pallets back there getting ready to go. And here's a view from the top all the way across. And I just flipped my screen back over to where I can see the chat, so I'll go back up and answer a few in a minute. But Jason says, I feel like 3 or 4 53-foot trailers. I wish you were right. This is going to be a heck of a lot more than 3 or 4. We take an entire 53-foot trailer to nationals with us, and when we load up, it doesn't even look like anything's gone. And the last time we did that was a year ago, and there's way more stuff in here than there was a year ago. So this is unfortunately probably going to be closer to, like, I don't know, 15 or 20 trailer loads, believe it or not, which is not going to be very fun, but we'll get it done. There's a lot of stuff in there, because it's not just the products, it's the racks, it's everything. But yeah, that is Squadron as of today. Well, I can't take all the credit. That's Squadron and it's MMD. So that is, but that's where we are at this point in our ongoing history. Yeah, and then, I've talked about some of the struggles that we go through being in LJ outside of just having a big enough place, it was just nuts. You say, why don't you just find a bigger place in town? Trust me, for over a year and a half, we've looked. There's one building in town that's bigger, that's available. I mean, there are bigger places. The Tyson chicken plant is here. There's huge places, but there's one building that's available that's big enough, and it's an old carpet factory. The roof, it's very not, it's not good. Roof leaks, and we do not need a leaky roof for our model kits. So, but that's kind of the quiet time for the warehouse. But during the day, let's see. Here we go. Here's towards the end of the day when the UPS man shows up. This is what the back door looks like. So we don't have a loading dock, but we make it work. And we just shove everything in there. The bad thing is, or the good thing about UPS is they're great. They show up every day. They have a big truck. We fill it up. Yay. The problem is we have that much or more that goes out on the post office truck. And like I've told you, they show up in a Jeep Cherokee, and they can't get even a fraction of the packages. So we have to load our own trailer. We have to haul it across town to LJ. I mean, it takes about an hour out of the day just to do that, when I wish they would just come get the stuff. But that's part of it. When we get over to Chattanooga, or Ringgold rather, it will be quite a bit better. At least we think it will. But the warehouse, if you noticed, all of the talking about making things work, all of our shelving that we have in there, if you noticed, it was all wood. Yeah, we build our own shelves because we can. I've gotten pretty good at carpentry work, and this is Richard, our one of our warehouse guys. He's really good at carpentry work, so we just go in there and we build our own stuff, which is significantly cheaper than buying pallet racks. I mean, we could do that, but we like to keep our costs down as much as possible, and that's just one of the ways, kind of like Russ driving his tractor to work to unload containers and load up semi trucks. Save the money, and that's what we try to do, so we can offer the best prices that we can. And that's just some of the weird, funny ways that we try to save money. If we got to build our own shelves to save a few bucks, we'll do it. But it will be it's going to be a lot of work moving, but it's going to be worth it. Let me jump over here to the live chat and see what you guys have been saying, if anything. I might have bored you and put you to sleep. Let's see. Quit Dave. The ICM Ford kit, they should be here next week, I believe, along with a restock of those B-26s. Hey, Chris Decker's here. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, all this is your fault, by the way. I got to have Chris on the History of the Hobby series sometime so he can tell us the whole history of Yankee Model Works and Trident Hobbies, and all of what is me now was him before, and so that'll be cool. Speaking of the history of the hobby, I hope all of you saw the interview with Alina from Mini Art that we posted last week. That was really cool to hear from her. And the next one, I've got a few others. I don't know which one I'm going to post next. And I'm even working on one with me. I'm going to tell the entire story of our business. Some of you have heard it on the Plastic Model Mojo, and even though that was an hour long, it was still the it was still the Reader's Digest version of it. So I figured I can, so why not? Some of you may be interested to hear the entire history of free time hobbies up to now being Squadron. So, but that'll be coming. But the other one of the other ones that I've got, if any of you have got this new Kalmbach magazine, how to paint figures, or what is it? Paint award-winning figures. This cool figure on the front of Judy Jetson, all grown up. This was sculpted by a guy named Roberto von Baer. And if you are into large-scale girl kits, as they call them, like this, you may know that name. He is considered one of the best. He hand sculpts everything. He's been a friend of mine for a while. And he's the one that sculpted that for a company called Filmy's Girls that produced that kit. Very limited stuff. Less than 100 of them probably were made. I don't know exactly how many Filmy's makes of those, but a lot of the things Roberto sculpts are very limited, under 100, sometimes under 50, sometimes they're one-offs. But anyway, he lives down in the mountains north of Rio de Janeiro, and I did an interview with him. It's going to be a little bit different because most of the interviews that I'm trying to do, like with Elena and Valeria, most of those are things that I can say, hey, come to Squadron and buy this. But Roberto's going to be a little bit different because you can't really buy his stuff. You can while they're available, but usually they're offered for a little while and they're gone. So this is more of a interview for fans of Roberto to be able to see him, hear him, because many of you probably had no idea where he lived or what he sounds like. So it'll just be something interesting and different to hear from a hand sculptor. But that'll be coming soon. And I got a few others that we're trying to get done too. So we'll see how it goes. And Ed, yes, Edward does that. When they bring their stuff to nationals, yeah, you see them, especially if you get there early in the show, you'll see them over there just going to town, putting kits together. And that's the same concept. That's what we get to do here. So let's see. Oh, Lee was the one asking about how many trailers. Yeah, I I really hope that Jason is right, that it takes 3 or 4, but I just know that's not going to be the case. Call the ware. That is a good name, Tom. The Danger Zone needs to be the name of the warehouse. We might quote you on that. Joseph, the Marilyn Monroe kit is still available for pre-orders. However, we did just finalize our order count. So I don't know how many are left, but whatever's left, that's it, because they have put those into production, and like so many other companies these days, they are producing the amount that they have pre-orders for. So if you want one of those, make sure to go over to our website in the pre-order section and grab that, because you don't want to miss. Let's see. Barry says I need a big zip line to get around the warehouse. You know, if I put a zip line up in the warehouse, my kids would never go home. They would always want to go to work with Daddy days. But it'd be fun. Yeah, William, moving this stuff, it'll be a job too, but you know, we'll get it. We'll get it. And Randy, yes, if you would like to save us from having to move all of that stuff, give me a call and your credit card number, and I will give you a very, very, very large stash of models. Jason, yes, I would love to do a interview with Tamiya as well, and that is something I'm working on. It will most likely end up being with someone from Tamiya America, or Tamiya USA rather, which would be one of the guys that you would see at the IPMS Nationals, whether it be George or I don't know, one of those guys. So that is something I would love to do. Chris Decker says I should start a betting pool on how many 53-foot trucks it takes to move everything. All right. Well, everybody keep a number in the back of your mind on how many semi-trucks it's going to take us to move. And after we get moved, and after we take the last semi-truck over, we will have a raffle that night. And whoever guesses the right number of semi-trucks, we will figure out some sort of a Squadron gift certificate or discount code that you'll be able to have. So that'll be a fun thing. Everybody figure out how many trips you think it's going to take, and I'll figure out exactly how to do it. But we'll do it on one of the live shows after we get moved, and this is going to be a few months, probably. But once the last semi truck leaves town, we'll do that. That'll be a fun Wednesday night thing to do. So, and Lee, I sincerely hope you were wrong. I do not want to pay for 55 semi trucks, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So we'll see. We'll see. The last thing I want to show you guys before we get off of here tonight is I do want to show you this in case you did not see the email that we sent out. Oops, there we go. So here is, I'm going to try to keep this section up to date better. The new M3 Stewart, the early production, it's up for pre-order now. And the other thing, if you missed this today, Magic Factory's A4 Skyhawk, we've got those up for pre-order now. So those will be coming this summer too. Anyway, the thing that I'm going to try to keep up with is this news and updates section. So this newsletter thing that I sent out this past weekend, this is a copy of that email if you didn't get the email. But there's a link to the interview with Alina if you didn't see that. A little video of me standing in front of our new warehouse over in Chattanooga. And then I just go through here and list all the new pre-orders that we just started taking. And there's just so much new stuff coming out. This B-17 from Edward that's coming out, I'm extremely excited about this. They're calling it the Bloody 100th kit, which everybody probably knows what that is now thanks to the Masters of the Air series, which, by the way, I just finished watching last night. I watched the last episode, so that was cool. But this kit is 48 scale. It is the HK models B-17, but it includes all of the goodies from Edward, including a new plastic sprue that Edward tooled up to give you more nose options. So that's going to be very, very cool. This is one of the, talking about limited things, this is one of those limited things. You can imagine they've got to buy plastic sprues from HK models. So once they tell HK, this is how many we need, that's it. So make sure to get one of those on pre-order from us if you don't already. It's just going to be a really, really cool kit. let's see. The new version of the P-47s are coming. The B-26s, they'll be back in stock next week. So what I did on that is I opened those back up for pre-order. They sold out the day they came in, or the day after they came in. So I've opened those back up for pre-order so you don't have to miss out on the next shipment. Then we go through here, got all sorts of new things. Arma and Airfix got some new kits. This Qatari brand, we're going to have that brand now. So they've got two of their Spitfires that are still available that will be getting in stock soon. And then they've got oh man, a German fighter, I forget which one, that's coming out later this year or early 25. I don't know exactly, but so we'll have that brand now. I'm excited about that. There's actually a lot of new brands that we're going to have soon. Well, when I say soon, when we get moved over there, there's a lot of things that we've been holding off on simply because we don't have space. And having enough space, you might have seen some empty shelves through there. Well, that's because we had to move things over for things that are coming in. So we're always having to shift stuff around to make room of what we know is coming. But so some things we know we don't have room for. Some of the things that are coming in that are going straight over to the new warehouse, we're finally gonna have Gecko and Classy, Vespid. What else? Saber models, if you know them, for their railroad stuff. Some of the other brands like Bronco and Great Wall Hobby. There's just so many things that we've been wanting to get, and we can get. We just hadn't had the room. So there's all sorts of stuff. But Qatari is one of the first ones that I've gotten listed on the website. So I figure we can figure out how to squeeze two kits. And even, well, I say that they're not coming here, they're going over to Ringgold. See, we've got the 20,000 square feet that's being built for us. It's being built in two sections. One half of the 10,000 feet is going to be like straight up nothing except a concrete floor and walls. And then the other side of it is going to be more than that, bathrooms, offices, that kind of thing. So we're getting that first 10,000 up like fast because they don't have to finish it out, and then there'll be a wall or whatever, so we can start filling that up. And we've actually got another 2,500 square foot warehouse right next to it that's already there. It was already being rented out, but they are moving out like now, and we take possession of that on May 1st. So all that stuff that you saw that we're already getting packed up, all those shelves, all those pallets of things that we're preparing to move, that's all going over to Ringgold probably in like a week. So that's going to help. That'll free up some space in the current location. But since we got that 2,500 already, we can start routing shipments over there. And that's going to be my job. I'll be over there and I'll be handling all that. And then as soon as that first 10,000, as soon as it gets dried in, we'll start being able to move into that. But then they'll be building out the offices and all that in the other half of it. But they should be done with that before too long. So we're taking it a few stages at the time. But it'll work out nice because we'll get to move in pieces. We don't have to just take everything all at one time, and that'll really help us on our downtime situation. But that's kind of cool. The ICM 48 scale Blackhawk's going to be a big hit. The 48 scale stuff from Kitty Hawk is finally coming in. Of course, the Cougar's probably the most popular one that they've got on their announcements lists right now. But there are, I don't know, 10 of them or so that are on their way. This is really cool. The B-24 from Airfix. That's going to be awesome. All new tooling. I've said it a few times, we got a new tooling 48 scale B-24 and we're getting a 72 scale B-24 new tool this year. So I'm excited. This Royal Class P-51B from Edward is another one of those things that is very, very limited, and we are on the tail end of our pre-orders on that. I know we had some, but I check it every day before I go home, and we had some left, but it's running short. So if you haven't ordered one of those, make sure to do that. Some new trumpeter items coming in. There's that new Spitfire from Border. This is one of the big exciting things from Mini Art that's coming soon. Their new Puma is very nice. If you saw the interview with Elena, she had one there, a test shot, or a test build rather, that she was holding. Just looks really nice, and you can get it with or without the interior. They got some other cool things coming. Tacom's got another version of what they're calling a Tiger Big Box. This is the Tiger Big Box 2. It's got these two tigers in it, which is really neat. I think I'm probably, of all the tigers they're doing, if I'm gonna, if I have to pick just one, I'm gonna do the Michael Whitman one. That's just always been my favorite tiger, for sure. So, and here's those two half tracks we were talking about. Borders being the 251 and Tacom's being the 250. So those are going to be nice. The Tamiya, they've got their new, well, it's not new, it's a reissue of their old German motorcycle coming back. Is going to be nice. ICM says the Burma Jeep will finally be released sometime in the next few months. So exciting to see that. Trumpeter's next version of a 16th scale Stug. Just all sorts of stuff. And then we jump down here to the ship models, and this kind of surprised me. Trumpeter is, it shouldn't surprise me, but Trumpeter is doing a 350 scale Montana. And like I said, I knew nothing about that until all of a sudden Russ sent me the new, he said, hey, how many of these are you going to want to buy from me? I'm like, well, I wish I'd known about it, but it'll be cool. It'll be very interesting to compare this to Verifier's Montana. You may know that I'm into that kind of thing. I love all the weird what if kind of things, and Montana certainly fits that bill. So, and they've got a couple other kits coming too, Trumpeter does, that you've probably seen. This super duper upgrade set for the Curtis Wilbur, the Arleigh Burke kit from HS model. This thing is super nice. It is slap full of, it's like overload, upgrade overload, and those are finally released. They're packing our order, and those will be shipping. I know those because I don't get that from Russ. I get to buy that myself. So that is supposedly going to be here, I think, in the next week, if I remember the tracking information correctly. But I could be wrong that it might be the week after. But there's the new Cowpens Ticonderoga class cruiser from Flyhawk. That is going to be cool. And of course the Dragon destroyers, the Scharnhorst. They got all three of the versions of that coming back out. If you got Trumpeters, or if you saw their French light cruiser, the Marseillaise, this is the second ship of that class. And I don't know how to say this, the Georges Legaze, I guess, I don't know. But that's kind of neat coming from Trumpeter. Talking about it being weird that Trumpeter's doing a Montana, well, Verifier's doing a Yamato, and that's coming up sometime this summer if they got a standard and a deluxe. So just tons of stuff. And then you get down here to the figures, X Plus. They've been a little stale the last few months, but then all of a sudden they've got Dracula, another version of Vampirella, the Rhedosaurus from Ray Harryhausen, the Blue and Beta Velociraptors from Jurassic World, and the Marilyn Monroe from the USO tour, all coming out like within the next couple of months. I think the Beta and Blue will be here first. Rhedosaurus and Marilyn Monroe will be next, and then Dracula and Vampirella will be the two that come after that. But they're all coming up soon, so it's very neat stuff. And like I was talking about a few minutes ago with the Marilyn Monroe, all the orders for these have been placed and finalized. So far, X Plus has kind of stuck to their guns on not reissuing things. They are reissuing this Vampirella, but it has a different base. So I guess technically it's not a straight up reissue. It's a different box, got a different base. It's got the Bat Wings or the Bat Shadows base. But we'll see. We'll see how all of the X Plus stuff keeps going. And a couple other things down here. The Dune series from Ming, this Ornithopter, it did pretty cool, or did pretty well from. It did pretty well for them, and it is cool. So they're doing it in 72 scale, so it'll be a decent sized kit. Of course, there's the Paul Atreides from that movie that they're doing a 12th scale figure of, and the ICM Ford kits that we were talking about a minute ago. So just tons of new stuff coming out this year, and that's not all. Ever since I sent that email out this weekend, we already got information about the Mini Art early production, Stuart. We got the pricing information on the A4 Skyhawk from Magic Factory, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I found out about towards the end of today that I didn't have time to even digest and get put on the site. So it's just ridiculous how much stuff is coming out, and we will do our best to stay on top of it for you. Um, Offer those up for pre-orders because this stuff it comes out and goes discontinued so fast now. It's like if you see something you want, you better jump in and grab it while you can, or you may miss out. I in that email from this weekend, I jokingly, well, I guess half serious, but jokingly named the subject FOMO time, and FOMO being an acronym for fear of missing out. I mean, some of this stuff, if you don't order it right from the get-go, it's gone, and you never get a chance to get it. The way that they're able to produce this stuff now with these really low production runs, it makes it a little bit different. It makes it interesting, but it's kind of neat because in a really weird and wacky way, it's almost like bringing a chase to collecting model kits. You know, you gotta make sure to get them while you can, and you don't want to miss out. But I don't know. We'll keep on plugging away and sticking them in there for pre-order as we find out about them. So let's see. Frank, what are you looking to do with Diamond Lil? I am at the moment just trying to get in touch with someone at the Commemorative Air Force. I would love to include a like a page worth or so of history and information about the Commemorative Air Force to be included in our B-24 nose art book that we're doing. Considering Diamond Lil is, still flying. I've got the Collins Foundation, their Witchcraft B-24. I've got a nice write-up they did for me for the book, and we've got some images of that plane that they've provided for us. It will be interesting to include that in the book because those planes are still flying, and just most of us in here probably know who the Commemorative Air Force is. We probably know who the Collins Foundation is, but there's probably a lot of people out there that don't. So this book that we're working on in the new Nose Art series, this whole book is nothing but B-24s, so I would just love to include something about them. So if anybody's got a contact at the Commemorative Air Force that you can share with me, email it to me. I'd love to get in touch with somebody out there and include them in this book. Let's see. And Matt Johnson, yes, the Qatari stuff. Those guys were involved with Wingnut for sure. So they know how to make a good kit. And if you have one of those kits, the instructions that come with that thing, it's like a book in and of itself. It's quite impressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else they come out with. Lady Neville says, got your Hanniboo today. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it. Make sure to send pictures to me when you get done. I love that kit. It's just wacky enough that I had to have it. So, yeah, Ronnie, that Black Hawk, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm excited. And Miami, thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's because I know where we're headed, and I'm not ashamed to show you where we are today because that little red building, that was where we were 2 years ago, and here we are today. So I'm excited to see where we will be in 2 years from now. So, but please hear this: none of this would be possible without you guys. I really, really appreciate you. It's very cool to me that so many of you want to come hang out with me on Wednesday night and just hear me talk about the models that we sell. I mean, it's cool. I really appreciate it, and truly, we would not be where we are today if it weren't for the awesome customers that we have, um, and your guys' support. So I really hope that I'll be able to see a lot of you at Wonderfest at the end of May, or I guess June 1st and 2nd. I will be there. My wife will be with me. You can meet her. And my brother, I believe he's going. And I believe Jay and Lisa from MMD will be going as well. They've been going to that show like forever. I think Jay told me he was at the very first one, or maybe the second one, um, many years ago. So they're always there. But we'll be there. I hope to see a lot of you there. And if I don't see you there, hopefully I'll get to see you in Madison at the IPMS Nationals. I'm probably every Wednesday night I'm going to try to mention the shows, and I'm going to beat a dead horse every Wednesday night and keep talking about these shows, because I had, I think, 3 or 4 guys at the AMPS show a couple weeks ago come up to our booth and thank me for talking about the AMP show on our show, because they live in South Bend, Indiana, and had no idea that show was taking place. So, these shows, the AMPS Club, the IPMS clubs, they do an awesome job promoting, but you can promote till the cows come home, and there's still going to be somebody that didn't see your promotion. So whatever I can do to help tell about these shows, I want to do that. And I know a lot of you guys have local IPMS shows, and there's dozens, if not hundreds, of these shows around the country. So obviously, I can't talk about every single show every Wednesday night, but the big ones that we attend, I want to always mention those so everybody knows about them. And when we get moved and settled in, I'm trying to work on a page on our website that I can direct people to, that you can see how to find out about all the shows. Because obviously, you can go to ipmsusa.org and see all the IPMS shows. You can go to the AMPS website, see all their shows. You can go to wonderfest.com if you even know about that and see their show. You can see all these the Acme car clubs, you can see their shows. But I want to have because customers ask me all the time, are there any shows in my town? So I want to make a page on our site that lists all of them, or whether or not I list them, I want to have a link to. I want to link to IPMS, a link to AMPS, a link to Acme, a link to Wonderfest, a link to Jersey Fest. All these different shows that take place, so that I have somewhere I can forward guys to, so you can know about this stuff. Because we had a guy. He's a good friend. He's a local customer here in LJ. He came in not too long ago, and I was talking about moving to Chattanooga, and I was talking about being able to be a part of that club a little bit more frequently, or heck, I hadn't been a part of that club in years, but I'm looking forward to being a part of that club again. And I was talking about the show that they have there, how much I enjoy going to that each year. And he said, "What show are you talking about?" I'm like, my goodness, one of my best customers here in town didn't even realize that there was a show in Chattanooga. And I said, "Well, do you know about the shows in Atlanta?" Nope, he didn't know. So I got to make sure to tell these guys and tell you guys about these shows when I can. So anyway, if I mention the same shows every week, now you know why I always want to bring it up. So Charles, I'm assuming your squadron must be on the Skyhawk. That's awesome. That is very cool. And I wish we could do a discount that way. If I can talk Magic Factory into it, we'd be all in. Matt has hesitated too long one time. Yeah, that's the other thing you got to keep in mind on our website. If you put it in your shopping cart, it's not like physically coming to the store. If you physically come to my store and you're holding a magazine like this is, or a model kit, that's pretty much yours unless you decide not to buy it and you put it back. Online, every one of you can put the same item in your shopping cart, and whoever checks out first gets it. So it's just part of it. Let's see. Frank, you emailed me Khan's phone number. Awesome. I will try to give him a call it'll probably be Friday. Tomorrow, I need to tell you this. If you try to call me tomorrow, you are going to go straight to our voicemail. I am cutting the phones off tomorrow because we are all headed to Ringgold tomorrow. Well, I say all of the all of the phone staff. We're all going to be over there checking in on what's going on. The warehouse will be operating, so orders will be shipping out, but nobody will be in the office tomorrow. I might be back sometime later in the afternoon, but just throwing that out there. If you try to call me tomorrow, you're not going to get me. So I do apologize in advance, but send me an email if you need something. Otherwise, give me a call Friday. I will be back then. Let's see. And Grizz, good to see you here tonight, buddy, and glad I could help. Love being able to help you guys. So enjoy. I know the kit you're talking about, so get that thing going and send me some pictures. I always like seeing you guys' pictures. Speaking of pictures, next week, isn't it next week? Let me look at the calendar. Yes, next Wednesday, May 1st, is our monthly show and tell here on Wednesday night. So I have got a lot of pictures over the past few weeks from you guys, but send me more. The more the merrier. Send info@squadron.com is my email address. Send me pictures of your completed models or your actively in progress models. And if you're sending me a picture of a completed model that I previously showed in the show and tell as an in progress model, make sure to make note of that. So that I can say, and send me the in-progress model again so I can show, yeah, this is what we saw before, and now he's done with it. And that's the whole idea, so we can kind of follow each other's build progressions, I guess you could say. And I'm really looking forward to getting to my new house in my new model room so I can join in on the show and tell fun. But yes, that's next week, so make sure to send me some pictures. I sent you the limited edition Hanniboo instead. Well, as long as you're okay with it, I will say Merry Christmas and enjoy. It was probably an error, but that's all right. There's the different. It's exactly the same kit. The only difference is you get a few extra goodies in there. So go ahead and take that and enjoy it, and just make sure to send me pictures when you're done. I really look forward to seeing it. All right, let's see. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, you miss out. Sometimes I'm the same way. Things will come out, and by the time you realize it's a thing, they're already gone. So I'm going to do my best to put stuff out on the website for pre-order as soon as I know about it, to give you guys as much of an opportunity to get your order in as possible. So, all right, well, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. I really appreciate you being here as always. Next week, show and tell. Looking forward to seeing what everybody's been working on, see what you finished, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So join me here, same place, same time next week, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for Squadron Live. And guys, y'all take it easy. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.